Hello, good morning, everyone, and happy Independence Day. I am so excited to be here doing this with you all on the 60th Independence Day of Nigeria. It's been a journey of ups and downs. Of course, a lot of people will disagree with me. Some people will say that Nigeria has had more down times than good times. Some people would even say that it has really never been a good time in the journey of the independence of Nigeria. And it's a very, very strategic day for a discussion like this, powered by Civicpolls. And I want to encourage everyone to invite their friends, share this with as many people as can join, as you can reach, because what we are discussing today is going to be the beginning of a transformation in Nigeria, the beginning of transformation in Nigeria. By the way, my name is Peter Ishola, and I am one of the founders of Civicpolls. Now, I will just talk a little about what Civicpolls is about. So, Civicpolls is basically an online opinion poll platform and a data analytics platform. And the vision behind Civicpolls is for us to be able to gather data of public opinions on issues, trending issues, challenging issues, issues of general concern in Nigeria and across the world. So what we are doing at Civicpolls is to gather opinions of people, generate these data, and consolidate this data into valuable insights, which can be relevant to various organizations, both private and the public. And one of our strategic approach to reaching out to the world and communicating what we stand for and what we do at Civicpolls is the Civicpolls online panel discussion. So basically, Civicpolls has two major visions, two major goals and or causes that we stand for. One of them is political literacy amongst the populace. We want to be the one organization that can foster political literacy, and also we want to be that platform that fosters public involvement, citizens' involvement in the process of governance. So it is not surprising that our very first online panel discussion is focused on the role of citizens in governance. And I want to let you know that I'm not going to be alone here today. I have two very powerful individuals who are forces to reckon with in Nigeria. They are youths, and I want you to know that these people are vibrant and there is a lot that they have to say concerning this issue of the citizens' role in governance. And I would want to say this also, that a lot of people have a lot to say about how the leadership in Nigeria is not doing so well. A lot of people have a lot to say about how Nigeria needs to get it right when it comes to leadership. But you see, when it comes to the kind of government that we run, or the kind of politics that we run, accountability and responsibility becomes very, very important words that we need to focus on. And of course, you cannot talk about accountability and responsibility without enforcing this through the power that has been vested on the citizens. You know, when the citizens understand what their responsibility is, when citizens understand what their rights are, they are able to make demands from the government, make demands from the leaders, their representatives, whether it's at the executive level or the legislative level or even at the judicial level. You know, somebody celebrating Independence Day shared with me the logo, the emblem of Nigeria, and it has the office of the citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You know, every office has its responsibility. Every office has its power, has its judicial and legislative responsibility. And the citizens, of course, have their judicial and legislative responsibilities. But I am not alone here in the studio. Like I said, I have two amazing young men in the house. One of them is Mr. Olusegun Ifade. Olusegun Ifade is an HR practitioner and is a human rights and policy advocate. Is a good friend of mine. I've known him from way back, and this is someone who has always been at the forefront of human rights activism. He has always been at the forefront of checkmating the policies and the decisions of the government. And he's here with me in the studio, and I'll be bringing him up, and he'll be talking with us. We'll be having this panel discussion. The other person I have is also a very formidable person. Amazingly, I have known these two young men for many years, for over a decade now, and they are men who have stayed true to the causes that they stand for. The other person is no other person but Dayo Nigeria. His real name is Adedayo Adeniyi, and he's going to be joining us in the studio too, and he's going to be talking to us on this same subject. So I'll be bringing in Benga Ifade. Good morning, Benga. I call him Benga actually. Good morning. Happy Independence. Good to see you. I know I greeted you and I said Happy Independence, but you were not saying anything to me. Why were you not responding to me?
Good morning, Peter. It's good to be here. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes. You're very audible. You're very
it's good to be here with you, Peter. You guys are doing a fantastic job at the Civicpolls. It's a great initiative, and I'm very happy that it is being done. It is being initiated by young individuals like me, and so it is great to be here. Okay, I didn't respond to Happy Independence Day that you greeted me earlier, like you mentioned. I know that I'm not alone. Even among the political class, some of them too, in their own private, at their own privacy, they know that there is nothing to celebrate about. But when they come outside because of media, they will say Happy Independence. So that's why me too on this platform, because I'm a public forum, I will say Happy Independence. But we all know that.
I wish you the same. I wish you the same.
But we all know that the Happy Independence comes with a lot of
Yes. I totally understand that. But let me just ask you a question. Now, what in one word, how can you call the experience of independence so far in Nigeria, looking at it from 1960 through the coups, through the wars, through the uprisings, the corruption, the transition from military to civilian government, and back and forth. So, in summary, what's your understanding of the Nigerian political space so far?
Okay. For me, I think it would be wrong to say it has been a traumatizing one. All right, traumatizing in respect to the people. From 1960, if you look at from 1960, there is a lot of hope, a lot of joy that now that Nigeria is having its independence, at least we can be ruled or be led by our own people who understand us better, and we can together with ourselves aspire and create a very great nation, a nation that is livable, a nation that is dignified, a nation that everybody anywhere, whether in and out of the country, can raise up their passport and say, I am proud of being a Nigerian. And that was the hope, and that was the ideas of our founding fathers. However, what it is today is a massive deviation from the founding fathers' ideal to what we have now. So on the massive side, the people, the ordinary Nigerians, which I am a member of, it has been a traumatizing one, because we take one step forward that looks like a progressive step, and the next minute we are taking 5 steps backwards, So it has been a traumatizing one for us, because till date, we can say collectively that ordinary Nigerians, have not been able to enjoy the real dividend of having an independent nation in respect to the resources, both natural resources that we have, and also in terms of the human capital, who are great, who are vast, who are very extraordinary talented. And so it has been a traumatizing one. But to the political class, I don't think to them it has been a traumatizing one. It has been a very smooth, enjoyable, and with so much dividend of being in the political corridor for them. So, but for us on this side, it's not really a good one at all. That's just the truth, nothing but the truth.
Hmm. I wouldn't want to agree any more, any less with what you've said. It's true, because you see, when we consider what is happening in the world today, one will, especially, I mean, in Nigeria, one will be wondering how come um, we cannot have any clear path when it comes to increase, growth, and projection in the country, especially when it comes to the issue of economy, the issue of the GDP, the issue of true leadership. And one of the things that I would also like to say is that this seems not to be a problem with Nigeria alone, and it seems to be a problem with Africa. And I have often had conversations with people who, some people have said that it looks like God deprived Africa of certain things. You understand? But I don't want to agree with that. I believe that it's a systemic problem, and in Nigeria and Africa, we seem not to get the issue of the system correctly. I don't know if you agree with me, but what makes Africa different? Why haven't we been able to get it right when it comes to the issue of our leadership?
All right. I will align with you to a large extent. All right. I remember when we had a program. I'm a founder of African to African Partnership, the initiatives of sharing ideas, working ideas in African countries together, because we believe that sometimes when you copy a solutions, a policies from the Western world, most time there's always difficulties, because in terms of uh, cultural similarities is not really there. My cultural experience with a British person, or my cultural experience an American, is far not different. But when you look at the cultural similarities with an African nations, we still share some things, together. And so the idea is to bring African nations together, countries together, policymakers together in Africans, whereby and a policy that is working or that has worked in South Africa, in Kenya, in Ghana, if we are facing the same issue in Nigeria, it's easier to borrow such workable solutions and see how it works in Nigeria, which in most cases worked, because we have similar experiences and constraints in terms of leadership, masses literacy level. So to a large extent, I'll believe with you that in all sincerity, the African nations has a lot of similarities in terms of our challenges. But where it is different is that when you look at the experience, where Nigerians should have get it better or get it right.
Yeah.
Look at what is happening in South Africa today. Another South African is proud of South Africa. Forget about the media in terms of xenophobic attack and things like that. Even if you look truly into the xenophobic issues, you even see a kind of countries uniting together on the basis that they believing that this is one of the solutions to our challenges, even though it is an erroneous belief that it is other Africans in your country that is taking away the economy independence of your nation. Now, if you look at South Africa, they are doing well when it comes to economy. Now, they may be having issues, but South Africans hardly have issues when it comes to economic stability, especially when it has to do
Okay.
with their currency. Okay, as an HR, having an expatriate in the organization, we know how it has been difficult for us in terms of when you negotiate somebody's salary at a particular rate. Now the naira is flopping, is nosediving. So it's tend to be having issues. And by the time you look at the policy, you can't withdraw more than this amount on a daily basis. It gives a lot of challenges and a problem to the economy. And so in South Africa, you don't have that kind of issues. Okay, there might be one or two issues that they have in terms of leadership too. And you also see the way they are trying to resolve their issues. You see, the EFF, party, that it is a liberal ideology fighting with the ANC parties, on an ideological basis, unlike what we are
mm,
having here. All right. If you look at what is happening in Ghana, you said Ghana is small, but as small as Ghana is, their resources also are also small compared to
mm,
Nigeria. Despite that, in terms of leadership, they are getting it right. If you look at Rwanda, all right, since 1993, after the genocide and coming in of the president, a lot of things has been transformed. In
mm,
Rwanda today, we can never fill any form, whether at a private level, seeking job in the private sector, or at a public level, seeking job with the government, and anybody will be asking you, where are you from? What is your tribe? What is your ethnicity? It is a criminal offense in Rwanda to ask such question, because it is about
mm,
unifying the people. And today, when you enter Rwanda, you can never distinguish, between who is an Hutu and who is Tutsi. Okay, and that's
mm,
the basis of developing the nation. The first assignment of a leader is to unite everybody, irrespective of their
of their tribe,
tribe, of their ethnicity, of
their social
their
background.
social background, of their economic background,
Mm,
of their status, economic status. Okay, so he was able to do that. President Kagame was able to do that, and today we know the difference between Rwanda and Nigeria. And so,
mm,
fine, we all have the same similarities and experiences, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years ago. But what matters is, what have we been doing with it? What has Rwanda done with their own challenges? What has Ghana done with their own challenges? What are the Egyptian? What have they done with their challenges? What is Botswana doing with their own challenges? You see Botswana moving for almost 30 years ago from one of the most poorest nations to now becoming
mm.
one of the rich nations in Africa. And please
In Africa.
let me state it clearly. When we are talking about uh, a country being rich, please, Ifeadi Olusegun, always want to emphasize that I am not talking about growth. Growth has to do with indices, all those per capita income, and the population and what have you. I am talking about development in terms of the people on the streets.
Mm,
So when the political class will be talking about growth, we are moving from 11.5%. Fine, it is analytics, it is good. But we should be looking at it in terms of development, the real actual development. And that's why I like the human capital index, rating, every year. It is very good. So it shows about what the people are actually experiencing. And so when we look at South Africa, we look at a Ghanaian, we look at Rwanda, there is human development in their life, in their personal life. Unlike Nigerian, or rather unlike
mm.
Nigerians rather. Okay, so please,
Yeah.
when I'm talking about development, I am focusing on the people's development in the
Mm,
lives of the ordinary citizens on the streets. So,
mm,
so the difference is clear. However, we all have the same challenges 20, 30, 50 years ago. Both Ghanaian, Rwanda, Botswana, and others are doing far better in terms
than
of what
Nigeria.
Nigeria, in terms of their lives now, ordinary citizens' life, and in terms of what the future holds for them. So that's just my
All
own
right.
perspective.
Okay. So now, of course, one of the reasons why we are having this live chat is so that we will be able to divert the attention of the public from the issues that have to do with leadership to the issues that has to do with the citizenry, the
Mm,
followership. Now, I've said it before that over the years, a lot has been said about the challenges with leadership and things like that. But when we look at now, there was a great revelation for me when we had the COVID-19 pandemic. And I began to realize that can we say that the problem of Nigeria is only with leadership? And I think it's one of the reasons why we're having this conversation. What is the role of we the citizens? What role do we play in terms of influencing leadership? Because of course, this is a democracy. Whether one would argue that this democracy is actually true or this democracy is a false democracy, at least on paper, we are running a democracy. And if we are running a democracy, the citizens have a role to play. They say it is government of the people, by the people and for the people. So look at the COVID-19. It wasn't the leadership that really was making life difficult for the people. We ourselves were making life difficult for us. The cost of hand sanitizers, the cost of the face mask, everything just went up. And then we are like, even transportation, food, the government wasn't regulating this. However, one would say that it's because the government did not have a grip on these systems of the economy. That was why prices could not be regulated. But now, looking at citizenship, what are the fundamental responsibilities of citizens when it comes to national development, when it comes to governance? Because it looks like there is a huge disconnect between what is happening in the executive, between what is happening in the legislature, and what is happening with it. It looks as if the government does not even have any connection with the people. In this year, the COVID-19 pandemic year, the year when the world is experiencing some economic issues, the tariff on transportation, the tariff on electricity went up, the tariff on tax went up. The government is also bringing up a lot of policies to ensure that they tax the people. Thank God the water resources bill was dropped. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago in the House of Assembly? So what do you have to say about this,
Okay.
Mr.
Thank you, Peter. Now, the truth of the matter is this, all right? A bad citizens will always make a bad leadership. Since our leaders today, or whoever will be a leader tomorrow, are not being imported into the country, they are also citizens. So it means when we have bad citizens, we always have bad leaders, because tomorrow leaders are citizens today. And but we can start the understanding from looking at the role of leadership in the in organization. Okay, uh, first, the fundamental of having a government is because people haven't realized that they cannot govern themselves because their human beings comes with insatiable wants. And so in the process of fulfilling their interests, in the process of fulfilling their wants and needs, there is high proclivity that the one that is stronger than the other will always want to exploit the less stronger one, to achieve his own demands. And it is on this basis, understanding that when we have a society like that, as Thomas Hobbes says, that lives will be brutish, nasty. And so when there is no government, there is every tendency that we are heading to a fair society, because everybody will be doing everything at his or her own to ensure that he lives a comfortable life at the expense of others. It is this belief that brought about government. And the people agreed and said, okay, since we cannot live without having somebody to direct us, if not, life will be brutish and nasty, can we have a government? And so everyone submitted their free rights, their free will to a system called government. And from that basis, government started. From that basis, we moved to having people deciding who should lead them. And democracy from Greece started. And now, so please, I want to put so much emphasis on the basis that the people realized first that they cannot lead or rule themselves if there is no higher authority. If not, life will be brutish and nasty. And so they come together to give that free will to a government. Now, so it means that the first work of a government is to ensure there is proper regulation, proper policies, proper laws, proper tools, proper instruments in a society to be able to regulate the people well-being properly. Because you will always have the bad eggs in a society. So it is from that basis that we can say we didn't get it right. And from that basis downwards, we are now having citizens that grew up in a system that is insane. And so when you are giving birth in a system whereby the ways of life is rebellious, the ways of life is struggle, the ways of life is corruption, the ways of life is nepotism, there is every proclivity that if care is not taken, because of socialization, sociology tells us that people are a combination of nature and nurture, the biological makeup and your socialization. And so there is every proclivity that when people grew up in such insane environment, they were likely going to remodel that society again. It's about socialization for them. And so that is what we are having. And that is why when you go on Twitter and you'll be talking to somebody of 19 years old, somebody of 20 years old, that was someone that was giving birth to in 2000. I can bet with you that he has never experienced what we call a sane society. And even some of us in our 30s, we did not experience a sane society. And if you ask people that are moving to Canada today, it is not because they are not doing well in Nigeria. Most people that are moving to Canada today, I can bet it with you, they are doing extraordinarily well. I know people that are earning 3.2, 1.7 million per month that migrated to Canada. And you now ask, if you are doing well in Nigeria, why are you moving? They will tell you, that's the truth. It goes beyond what you are earning. It's about growing up in a sane environment. When you grow up in a sane environment, it goes a long way in your future, in your life. And so it is about their offspring. And so because a lot of things have not been properly done, and so people that we are giving birth to in the society today are not really doing what it is right because they don't even know what it is right. And unfortunately, that translated into the government. And so what we are now having now today is what? Is the same thing. Because part of the citizens are those who are becoming our government. And so that is why you see somebody that whatsoever you do, he or she will always want to exploit the system, exploit the loopholes in the system. Okay? And so, but quite unfortunately, that we are not having the right policies, the right laws, and beyond the laws and beyond the right policies, the political will and that national will to stand on what is right. And so if somebody today deliberately obstruct the road for any selfish reason, and you see a last man or any police officers, trying to implement to execute the law, because even the police officer too is going through economic strangulation, is high tendency that he will compromise. Okay, and so that becomes the ways of life, and so it now becomes so difficult in that kind of society without having established first that we are not getting it right. And how can we get it right? And we now start from the citizens and the leadership for us to get it right. So it's a very long, tedious project. That it is not about 5 years process, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, because we need to correct the orientation first.
All right. I actually, yes, I actually agree with you. So I'm glad to announce to us that the second panelist for today's talk is already in the studio with us and is ready to also add his thoughts on the issue of the role of the citizens in governance. So I welcome you to the studio, Mr. Dayo. Adeni, Dayo, Nigeria. You're welcome. Good to have you in the studio. Happy
Thank
Independence
you.
Day to you.
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Yeah. So you met a conversation on the role of the citizens in Nigeria, and so we've been looking at what what exactly is the role of the citizens? How can the citizens begin to take their place when it comes to the process of governance? So I would love to hear your thoughts on this. How can the citizens begin to take their place when it comes to the issue of governance in Nigeria? You're welcome. So let's hear your opening thoughts on this topic.
Okay, thank you so much. And of course, happy Independence Day to everybody. And this is a very important topic. It's something that I find very, very necessary because so many times when we're talking about, I've seen a whole lot of people write different things about independence today. And one of the things that I see every other day is somebody trying to look at another person as the reason that we are where we are today. We
Mm,
always have a scapegoat called government. And for me, I always ask the question of what is the meaning of government? Um, I
mm,
think one of the key challenges that we face in Nigeria, as much as a lot of people would not want to admit, like I say, I do not talk to please people or impress people, but we need to tell ourselves the truth. It's the irresponsibility of the citizens. And when we're saying responsibility of citizens, we'll pick it from the family level. Because when parents are not consciously trying to instill the right values in their children from the home front and expecting that a miracle will happen when they get out of the home front, there's no way that child will get out into the streets and then will think that, okay, this is the right value that I'm going to work with. When at home, the parents aren't saying this is the right value. You have a situation where parents take their kids away from regular schools and take them to miracle centers just because they want them to pass. And then you're saying that you're not communicating to that child that it is right for you to cut corners. So before we start talking about the problem of party politics, because that's always the problem people talk about. The problem of Nigeria is beyond party politics. It's about the people. When the people
mm,
can think right, understand that the doing and undoing of the nation depends on what we do as a people or what we fail to do as a people. Because I always ask the question, what is Nigeria without the people in it? There's no Nigeria when you don't have people. If Nigeria has a bad reputation anywhere, it's because of the wrongdoing of certain people who are called Nigerians. It's not possible right now that you have a Moroccan who does something wrong and then they start saying Nigeria is terrible. No, the Nigerian who does something wrong, we're all familiar with the story of somebody like the social media celebrity who was arrested recently. And then, of course, a lot of things that happened afterwards. So it's all about the person first understanding that I'm a major stakeholder in this entity called Nigeria. Until we all realize that we are major stakeholders, nothing is going to happen. I heard um, my colleagues speaking about Twitter, and then of course it's a place that I really do not even enjoy anymore, because every time I get on Twitter today, I see why Nigeria is not making progress, because we see a lot of people who are telling lies about Nigeria is what we want, right? But if you dig deep, you know that it's just an interest that they are trying to represent or protect, and so when I tell people that I criticize government when I need to criticize government, but I don't join some other group of persons to criticize government because I understand that motives are different. I criticize government because I believe that we deserve better as a people. And while some other persons criticize government because somebody that they want to be there is not there, they are two different things. And unfortunately,
mm,
the
mm,
people who are criticizing because the person they want there is not there, they're in the majority, sadly, until we're able to come in between and tell ourselves that the reason we must speak out is because our children deserve better. And I'm
mm.
so glad with
True.
one of the things that I heard when I joined, when we were talking about sanity. And
Mm,
I say this, that one of the things that I learn every day, that I teach myself consciously every day, is never to normalize abnormality. Because the Nigerian society is a place where when you do normal things, now people think you're mad. When you do normal things, people start calling you names. And so I tell them I enjoy the name calling because it speaks to the fact that I'm doing something differently from what every other person is doing. I don't do the bandwagon effect. It's not about the bandwagon, it's about understanding that I am a major stakeholder and everything that I do is extremely important in whether the nation will make progress or not.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I love what I'm experiencing in the studio right now. I'm seeing two different perspectives. Somebody bringing it up from the more political perspective. Somebody's bringing it on from a more personal and a family front perspective. That's lovely. Thank you very much, Dayo, for that comment. You said something that you make it a point of duty every day to never normalize abnormality. And trust me, I've seen a huge dose of the concept of abnormality, which has become normal. A few weeks ago, Reverend Sam Adeyemi shared a post on Twitter, which was trending and it went viral, talking about the fact that we live in a state where we have normalized what is abnormal. And it's a sad one though. It's a sad one though. Now, looking at things from these various perspectives, I'll be talking to you, Mr. Dayo. How can we begin to change? Because the truth of the matter is, unfortunately, we are in a country where it's very difficult to trust and even depend on the leadership. It's very difficult to trust and depend on the leadership. So how can we, as citizens, begin to put the right structure in place when it comes to the issue of orientation, reorientation, learning, unlearning, and relearning when it comes to the concept of citizenry in Nigeria?
Okay, so you talked about the fact that we can't trust the leadership, and then the question again is, what exactly is the leadership? When we talk about we can't trust the leadership, because a people cannot rise above the system that they are promoted. Because everything you call leadership in Nigeria is guided by the values that we also dear to us. Money is a value that people worship in Nigeria. And there's no way money is a value you worship and then you think that you build leadership structures that make sense at any level. Because, when we discuss leadership, people always want to take it to the political front. But no, it is not about politics. It's about everything in the Nigerian state. It's about the family. It's about the schools. In Nigeria today, the schools are primarily for the purpose of profit making. Many schools. And then, of course, education is relegated. The main thing that the school is supposed to do is relegated. That's why you have a whole lot of mushroom schools that they will type international, this international, that, because the people who are founding those schools are just after money. So there's no way they will even pay proper attention to the word education. If you check our religious institutions today, it's a mess, except we want to keep deceiving ourselves. Money is the God that we worship. And wherever you have a society that money is everything, somebody suddenly buys 2 cars and nobody is asking, what exactly did you do to own these cars? The next thing is they start celebrating them, they start inviting them to come and speak on how to make money, how to suddenly arrive and all of those crazy things. I was at a church on Saturday, and then of course, fortunately before I got on stage, some people came to promote all of this and drop this amount in less than 10 months. You're going to own about 8 million naira. It was the first thing that I addressed when I the microphone. So we must do away with this crazy mentality of not respecting the process, just wanting to move from the what's it called now, from the point of moving to the destination. You want to suddenly arrive from one point to another point without walking the road.
Without walking.
If I'm going to Lagos from Osogbo that I am, I know that I have to do a trip across Oyo State before I get to Lagos. I'm not just going to wish myself to, I'm in Osogbo now, and then I'm saying that in the next 5 minutes I will arrive in Lagos. Because if I do that, if by chance it happens that I do that, when people ask me when I get to Lagos, how do I get to Osogbo from Lagos? I won't be able to tell them this is the how, because I never experienced the how. And when the how is lost, teaching is difficult. So you have a lot of parents who are not also consciously grooming themselves to be responsible parents. Because a lot of these things, everybody has a family name. Because if there's something that I say to myself, I want all that I will do to bring glory to my God. And then, of course, to make my family proud. Because I don't want my name to be associated with anything negative. Because they will still remember that you're from a family at that point. So why can't we put conscious effort into ensuring that the kids that we're raising in different homes understand the difference between right and wrong? Right should not be relative. Wrong should never be relative. Right is always right. Wrong is always wrong. And these are places where we have to start. When you are not able to make the simple decisions guided by the right values, you can't tell me that you will even know what to do when you are choosing political leaders. I don't want to go deeply into politics and why it looks as if we always have the worst of us that are presented to us, because it's a deeper conversation. When you engage the rural communities, you will know why it is like that. Because the people like you and I who speak English never participate. So the people who join it at that level are people that can easily be bought with 500 naira. And then you also see some people like you and I trying to justify the whole idea of somebody collecting 500 naira. It's their own share of whatever. What nonsense cake are we sharing? Even if you want to share a cake, how would you be defining your own share of the cake as 500 naira, 1,000 naira, 2,000 naira? My life is a lot more significant than all of those crumbs that they would ever give you. So it's important for us, individuals now, not even any system, not association, to ensure that wherever we go, we are carriers of the right values and we do not feel ashamed when we express this and try to get other people to know that this is right, this is wrong. Obeying traffic rules will never be right, no matter what you try to do. Giving bribe will never be right, no matter what you try to say. Because they will tell you that, if you don't do this, 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 if you don't do this. No, there's no if you don't do this. Right is right, wrong is wrong. Values, values, values. When we build the right values in the society, things will work. If you are seeing a money bag who is trying to buy his way into everything, you will know that this one will get there and will get all of his money back. People don't kill to serve. They only kill if they want to steal. People don't become too desperate when all they really want to do is to serve the people. Because all of these people will be guided by a strong value called love. Like I said, when a strong value for you is love, you will understand that the money you are supposed to use to fix the roads, if you don't fix it, a lot of people will die on those roads. You will understand that the money that you're supposed to use to put water in homes, if you don't give them access to water, they would have to look for water anywhere, and you are exposing them to a whole lot of things like cholera and all of those things. So values, and let us not be ashamed. Let us be unapologetic when we are expressing these right values. People call me all sorts of names. Peter, well, thankfully we were in Ife together, and you know that I didn't run my journey in school as a regular student who would do it. But yes, today, everything that we used to do then that looked crazy, it's paying off. It will always pay off. It may take time. And these are things that we need to also communicate in our society. You don't start a journey someday and tomorrow you're already arriving. I don't say amen to some kind of prayers, by the way. If I'm in church at 7 p.m., and then the pastor is saying to you that you'll receive a miracle alert of 2 million overnight, the question to ask, have you worked to earn that 2 million? Not just shouting, amen, I receive it. All those things are reasons people think money is everything. So we must let people celebrate the journey, celebrate the process. The
The
process is
process.
something that is lost in Nigeria, and we must find it.
I totally agree with you, but I know that I have somebody who is more politically conscious in the studio, and Mr. Olusegun Ifade, let me bring you up. So, do you totally agree with what you have heard, Mr. Ifade, or do you have some points of disagreements or things like that? Let me hear what you have to say as a reaction to what Mr. Dayo has said.
All right. Thank you very much, Peter. Dion Nigeria is very right. I align to a lot of things to a large extent, right? But like I opined earlier, there are some times that we need to look at this thing from a multidimensional perspective. Okay. Now, from an individual person, properly groomed and properly and well tutored from home, there are some values that your parents should have inculcated in you. All right. And then by the time you have that values, you can also, from your own experiences, agree that my parents did a right job by instilling these values in me. But sometimes when we look at the society at a larger spectrum, look at the institutions from the basic unit, which is the family to education to government, media, politics, economy. Now, if you take a few years back to when people start doing miracle centers in terms of special centers and what have you. Now, the parents that started that, I'm not trying to justify, I'm going somewhere, please be with me. The parent that started it on the basis that if we go through this channel, the future of my wards, of my children, might be at risk because they are looking at the wider spectrum of the society. And that is when we look at leadership issue. See, if Dangote wants to give everybody 100,000 today, Dangote, he can do it, but he won't be able to sustain it. Coming together with Dangote from the personal view, Dangote's or $10, they can do it, but they cannot sustain it. But when a government implements one policy, just one policy, the people in the rural area will feel the impacts more than what Dangote and $10 will do in combined together. See, the truth is, whether we like it or not, we can have personal values. All of us can have personal values. But when that personal values doesn't transcend into national values, it is at your own peril. And we have so many examples of that. All right? Now, the basis that we can start from as citizens is to understand what is the value of Nigeria as it is today. Because Nigeria as a country do not have national value. The national values of a country is the basis in which policies and laws are formulated. So when a country do not have national values, you can never have a right policy, a right law in place. And that is why today, whether we like it or not, Nigeria will continue to argue everything. If Ifade Olusegun become the Nigerian president or governor today, and I embezzled all the money in the treasury, I can bet it with you, you will have people that will defend me without giving them a dime, one. And you also have people that will defend me because they are eating from the crumbs I am giving to them. And that's because we do not have national value. Like I said, the people, a government become, we have a government before because the citizens, the people living at their primitive area realize that they cannot govern themselves. we must understand the basis of government in the first instance. If the people realize that they can rule themselves, that will not be government. That will not be basis of democracy, of us electing. We realize that, according to Thomas Hobbes, the philosopher, that lives will be brutish and nasty. That is why we realize that there must be government to be able to regulate our behaviors and attitudes and put some things in place so that a man with 6 packs and muscle will not be able to exploit me with this tiny body like Leko of BBN. All right? And that's the essence of having government. And so when we get it wrong from the government, we always get it wrong in other perspective. And the truth is, if we jump the gun, it is easier for us to start saying that, okay, fine, the citizens need to do something. But when we start from the basis, now let me give you an instance, please. When the current president emerged, was elected, within first 1 month, 3 weeks, 1 month after he was sworn in, you will see that everybody sit tight. Please, I don't know if you can still remember.
Yes, that's true. Everybody adjusted.
Everybody
to the system.
This is President Buhari. He's no nonsense person. Sorry that I'm going informal, you know. But at the long run, after 3 months, 4 months, what happened?
Everybody went back to the normal.
It is like, oh, I think that was just to get into the position. We are same. Everybody go back to normal. Let me take you to Singapore. All right. When Lee came in, he realized that there must be a fundamental change. And the fundamental change must start for me. So he lived a moderate lifestyle. He abhorred corruption. And he was able to ask his followers from his immediate cabinet to do the same thing. And it is from that basis, because, see, leadership is the rise and fall of a nation. Even as an HR, when we are talking about policy in an organization, the first work every HR professional must do is to have management buy-in. Where you do not have management buy-in and they implemented such policy, it is the same manager, a department manager, that will be going against that policy in his own department. And then you now start seeing some employees, you know, because it is what they see that they will reflect. They will not start doing what their managers is doing. Because at the management level, there was lip service of buying in. And so the place of leadership goes a long way. And it is that same place of leadership that when you have, that you know that this person stole. And so according to our values, stealing is no. And so irrespective of who you are in the society, the law must take its course. But because leadership are also like me, we are also bad citizens, and there is no good process in place. And so such person will go scot-free. And that is the challenges that we are facing in Nigeria. Now, in all sincerity, there are some laws that we have. But when it comes to implementation and execution, the people influence destroy it. And so when we start from the genesis, we can start going back to how leadership has fed Nigeria by not putting the right policies, right systems in place that will now translate into national values. It is the right values that, you know, we imagine in Nigeria today. How will you not be teaching history? Is that the responsibility of the citizens? No, it is the policy of government. When they say they should increase tax to 7.5 without looking at the economy of the people, is it me that implement tax as a citizen? No, it is the government. When the government said ban importation of car, okay, ban importation from Benin Republic, okay, why didn't the government says, why are people bringing cars from Benin Republic in the first instance? They brought in cars there because when I get a car from London at the rate of $750, by the time I get to port here, you are asking me to pay $1,000. All right? So the government did not look at it. So we must, if you want to really talk and discuss Nigerians, if you have time, it is a multidimensional perspectives. Every individual values that did not translate into national values If care is not taken, it is mostly at the peril of that person. It is not about
All
it
right.
to values, all right? But we must start
Yes.
looking at it from the angles that
Thank
citizens.
you.
Sorry, let me say this. Have you heard of National Orientation Agency?
Yes, yes, yes,
But
yes.
you've heard of it because you are exposed and you read a lot. I can tell you that virtually 95% of Nigerians have not heard of that agency. Unfortunately,
Mm,
the agency is a sleeping agency. That agency should be one of the agencies that is extremely active in Nigeria because citizens need proper orientation, but they are sleeping. All right. So
mm.
if we want to do a real discourse on Nigeria, we will start from the grassroots, from the genesis. Okay, then we not take it up. But however, if we want to do the normal discussion, we can take it from the middle and start saying the citizens too are wrong. The citizens are not living on the right value. The citizens are this. Every parent, whether we like it or not, we always want to do the best for their children. Even me that I'm sitting down as I am now. If I have money, I will go to private school. Private school is selling because all of us collectively destroy the public school. And so whether it is right, whether it is wrong, is another perspective. But we must establish the facts.
All right,
We do not
Mr.
have proper
All
systems,
right, all
proper
right,
process.
Mr.
Interest.
Olusegun.
Thank you very much.
Yes, all right. So I'm seeing one of the things I am seeing is there is a clash between national values and individual values, developing individual values and developing national values. We are going to come to that, but I just want us to say one or two things, especially concerning the political space. Looking at today being a strategic day, I understand that there is need for a change at the political level of this nation. Because the truth of the matter is, Nigeria cannot continue to go the way it is going. We cannot afford to continue going the way it is going. And one of the things that I believe in is if the nation will get it right when it comes to proper checks and balances and putting up effective system for accountability, I think it will do a lot of good. I'm still coming back to the issue of national values. I think that's where I would have two of you give your final statement as we round off this discussion. But I just want us to address this. How can the citizens hold the leadership accountable, for whatever it is that they are doing right or whatever it is they are not doing right? Because you know eh, I'm saying this because one of the fundamental objectives of civic poll is to be that one system, organization that is able to ensure that the leadership understands the plight of the people and the leadership is listening to the plight of the people. So looking at it, let me give some cues to my point. Personally, I believe that one of the ways we can change the political system is at the polls every 4 years in election. I also believe that if we will I also believe that if we will address issues at the grassroots level, especially at the local government level, Nigeria would experience a tremendous improvement in the leadership process. I would start with you, Dio, first. Let me hear your thoughts on what I have just said.
Okay. So the point now this is a very simple thing. You don't hold people accountable when you don't know the difference between right and wrong. If you supported a wrong process in the old process of trying to get your person that you love into power, because many people don't even know to what extent I am involved with people in offices and of course politicians. But we are a product of what we continue to do in our society. So
Hmm.
there's no way. I hear about the national values, which is very important. But until we first understand that values don't just happen, we consciously develop it.
Hmm.
Um, and there are some very, very good fundamental things that was mentioned about National Orientation Agency, this and that, which I totally agree with. I totally agree with.
Hmm.
The last time NOA was functional, was when President Obasanjo was in power. After President Obasanjo left, um, something happened to NOA, and NOA is just more like having shops in different local governments across Nigeria. By the way, NOA still has offices in every local government in this country. They have offices. They just have. The question will then be, what are they doing? Because it's National Orientation Agency, orientation. Because one of the major things that we need right now is a reorientation. It's not even orientation; it's a reorientation. Because a young man was in my office just about last week. Today is Thursday. I was thinking today is already a weekend day. Last week, and then he told me that, okay, he came to my office to have a session with me. He wants to contest in 2023. And of course, being the kind of me that I am, by the time he left, I'm sure that except something is wrong with him, that's why I will still be thinking of contesting. Because I'm very clear about some things. Politics should not be your place of thinking you want to make money. Because we have too many people who are jobless in politics. So politics is the only career they hang on to. With all due respect, I didn't support the whole idea of not too young to run, because I feel it's just some people trying to make money for themselves. Because how are you talking about not too young to run when you are not talking about competence, when you are not talking about preparation? I don't think because I'm young, you should hand anything over to me. I must show that I'm competent enough to do it. So we always major on the minor in this country and minor on the major. How? What exactly are you running after? Are you running after service or money? Not too young to run, and then they change it later to ready to run. Ready to run to where? And then of course we are seeing
ready to run to power.
Are we not seeing all of them now? So these are like Mr. Ifade said, these conversations are conversations that we can have in 1 hour, even 2 hours.
I agree with you.
It has to be like a sustained conversation. We can't stop talking about it. We can't stop talking about it. Before you start saying that you want to even say, I'm getting involved in politics, number one, have a job, have a life. Because I told the boy, very, very passionate young man, actually. But I had to tell him the truth that this is the time for you to face your life, not to face politics. Because the way we also tell people about politics is also one of the ways we communicate wrong things to them. We always make them think that without knowing a godfather, they cannot have a voice in politics. And we are always silent about the service path to politics. And it works. It works. Service path. It's a longer process, but it works. But nobody wants to talk about the service path because we don't enjoy the process, as I said earlier. Because when you're consistently invested in the human capacity development of the people you want to serve, at the point of saying you want to use a political platform to serve them, they will not doubt what you're able to do. But if because you want to be governor, you suddenly realize that I actually love the people, then something must be wrong with us if we do not know that this one is just doing this because he wants power. Don't suddenly, with all due respect, I'm not one person who encourages bleaching, but even for those who bleach, it is not the day you start using the bleaching cream that you become like fair in complexion. It takes a time. It takes a time. So when somebody suddenly wakes up tomorrow and then say, I'm a changed person, I've suddenly become a lover of people. The person that you had never seen in your local government before, that you had never seen in your state before, just travel down from whatever because they have the money now. We can throw the money around. There's no way, if money is still what shapes our political culture, we can't make progress. And who are the people who are going to speak this truth? It should be the younger ones. So while we are putting all of the energy on not too young to run, we are downplaying the role of competence. We're downplaying the role of preparation. These are fundamental conversations. So everybody feels you have a lot of young people who are growing up with an entitled mentality. Because I'm young, you should do this. Because I'm young, you should do that. The question is, when you get to the table, what do you bring there? If I'm going to talk to somebody who is in office right now, I'm going to tell the person this is what you are doing that is wrong. If I do not have another option, another idea to share, then I should keep my mouth shut.
Short.
I engage people in government at different levels. And one of the things that we do is we understand that some of these people are innocently ignorant. They are
True.
ignorant. And so what we can do is to help them be a sounding board for sensible ideas, help them develop people-centric programs. By the time they see that when you build people-centric programs and people are warming up to it, by the time they see that it makes them more acceptable, even when you don't work with them again, they want to continue in that path. We can't stay aloof and just all we do on Twitter is type rubbish and say they're all terrible, they're all. It's wrong when we say all politicians are bad because we have so many good politicians who are doing so many amazing things. And we should stop that narrative of as long as a politician is a bad person, as long as a politician, you can't trust him. See, the reason you keep saying that is because you are not trustworthy yourself. If you keep doing things that will put you in a place where people can trust you, you would also know that in every bad system, you always have the good ones. And why can't we put spotlight on the ones who are good? Nigerians are not even taking the pains of trying to identify the ones who are good in that level, leadership level. And see, I completely agree that at that national level, it's important that we have people who can do it the right way, who have the will to serve. But my point is this: we won't just arrive at the national level. That smaller units. So it's more of taking it from the top to bottom approach. I feel that the bottom to top approach and the top to bottom approach, whichever works fine, is good. But we must keep talking about this. While we're talking about accountability at the level of governance, we must also talk about accountability at the level of individuals. Because the individuals who are not accountable today are the ones who will get into government tomorrow. So if you don't learn accountability now, you cannot learn it when you're in office. When pastors celebrate corrupt politicians, they are already exercising bad leadership at that level. So all of these are intertwined. There's no way you can isolate any from the other, which is why I agree with Mr. Ifadi when he said that it is a multi-dimensional, like multi-dimensional actually.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let me hear Mr. Ifadi's comments on what has been said so far. Mr. Ifadi Olusegun, tell us your thoughts, looking at the role of citizens in politics from your own perspective, and then we will call it a day.
All right. Thank you very much. Quickly, let me also say that I deeply concur, all right, that for now, Nigerians do not have the right to determine the age that they want in leadership. For now, what matters is competency. Even US that has got to that level is still having somebody of 70 aspiring for presidency. So for us now, what matters is competency. If you can do the job, please, we will vote for you. By the time you get there, you can lessen the problem, more enlightenment, more education, more things will be right. And we can now start saying that we don't want old people, we want young people. Now, having said that, the right way to go for citizens is to start getting involved. The issue I have with middle class people is despite their exposure, despite their enlightenment, despite their experience, despite their knowledge, okay, they keep isolating themselves from the political process. Now, how will you, a whole middle manager, somebody that is enlightened, somebody that is doing well, and in your community, you are not even joining the CDA, Community Development Association. In your community, you will just drive your Jeep, park it. In the morning you go to office, in the evening you come back up. You are okay with your children. You are living life. See, by the time the country collapse, see, the truth of the matter is that all of us, except those who are that extremely rich with private jets, will fly out immediately. Apart from that, all of us, without your private jeep, without your education, will suffer the consequences. And so the right way to go, let's go back to our CDM. Let us start asking what is happening in local government with local government chairman. Let us have CDM. By the time you pass your budget, we have a CDF forum, local government will come, the councillor, those people, they'll just have cars and be enjoying our money with girls and be doing all sorts of nonsense because they are controlling for streets. And the truth is, we know them. Tola the councillor, or the councillor, but we are not doing anything. So all of us that are educated, we need to help the lower class, because we are a little bit above them in terms of exposure and process. So we need to help them. We need to sensitize them. So we need to now get involved
I agree
at
with
that
that.
grassroots level. By the time we do that, with our own personal values that we are pushing to them street to street and in CBS forum, we'll be getting it right from that local government, to state. From state, we cannot have it national. But without us, the middle class, getting involved, like I used to say, there's an analogy. Take a chicken, remove his
It's
yes,
feathers.
his feathers, remove it. Okay. Now drop that chicken, then drop a corns at it. Will that chicken come back to you to eat that corns or not? It will always come back. Because whether we like it or not, economic survival is the first needs of a man. And so if the people keep strangulated with the economy, they cannot think right. No, I've not eaten in the morning. I don't know how school fees will come to be. And somebody is telling me, come and take this money to sort your situations. And you are telling me that I should not give in. It will take the grace of God. It will take the extra anointing for me not to give in. At that point, it is for me to survive. All right. So we need to start getting involved from local government. And I'm very grateful for what Dayo Nigerian is doing. God will bless you. I've seen some of your work. When I was told that you're going to be part of the panelists, I just have to Google one or two things. I can say boldly that we need people like you to keep doing what you are doing, while some of us are doing fire. People like you saying, calm down, let's do it. So fire and the karma people, as long as we all have the same destination, we always achieve the right objectives for this. So thank you very much, Peter.
Yes, so I want to say thank you so much to you guys on the panel.
Can I quickly say something before we end this?
All right, yes, Dayo, you can. You have the floor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm not always cool like this, by the way. Like when I'm in the line of duty, there's no way you would name yourself Nigeria, and then of course you would not have to have some element of craziness in you. But there's something that I always try to remind people, that there are two ways. There are two ways to live. One of the ways is to live for survival, and the other way is to live for significance.
Live for survival, live for significance.
For me, it's a commitment, because I don't serve a God who is going to be telling me survive alone, survive alone, survive alone. It's a life of significance that we should aim for at every point. Because when you live for significance, number one, it will also ensure that you are not, what's the English word now? Peter, apologies, we studied English together, but English fails me a lot of times, by the way. You will not subject yourself you won't be at the mercy of anybody before you can live. You will always create paths for you. You will understand that if this path is not working, I must create another path. I hate to see people who are saying I'm a graduate for 2, 3, 4 years and I still don't have a job and they have still not found something to do. These persons will be the ones politicians will eventually use. Now, I try not to brag. Anything that I am able to do today is by the mercy of God. But I always say it, that I have not collected my certificate from OAU till today, which means I've never applied for any job anywhere. A lot of people may not be able to do that, but it is just important for us to position ourselves to either be here or be there. If I'm not able to get a job, I must be able to create a job. I'm always very, very angry when I see people who will be complaining about they are not employing, they are not employing. Why not make yourself an asset that nobody will be able to do away with?
True.
Because in the whole conversation of they are not employing, they are not employing, people are getting jobs every day.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Which is why when we're talking competence, it's not even at the level of politics alone. You know, I stopped training coppers because it's like a headache when I relate with coppers. And I always say it to them every time. And when I see you guys, I see why Nigeria is not making progress.
Wow.
Many of
Wow.
many of them do not like me. But see, if we're going to move forward as a people, we must be able to tell ourselves those truths that we don't want to hear. If a graduate is not able to talk about one skill that he has or she has, then you know that or the whole idea of education has become a waste.
True.
Because an education that is not preparing you to be a skilled person, why do you think if Canada is going to take in people, they are taking skilled persons? They don't want liabilities. So if you want to stay here as a liability and enjoy every good thing, the people who understand the definition of progress in their society will not allow you to come to be a liability on their system. So we must always prepare or position ourselves for a life of significance. And without sounding churchy, I'm going to say that there's nobody God created that God hasn't given something tangible that he can run with while he's on earth. Because as much as we want to talk about the things that we have learned, we would also not forget that we are creatures of a God who sent us on earth. So when men keep failing you, find that space. I wish I'm able to tell a little more about my story because some people would want to make it look like, okay, this is just the regular cliche. It's not a cliche. Everything that I do today, there was no motivational teaching that taught me. It was an assignment that I received personally, which is why it is still easy for me to keep up with this even after 10 years. It's not an easy journey, but see, when you keep doing things and you are seeing results, you will always want to do more of it. There will be ups, there will be downs, but keep pressing at it. That is what people who live for significance do. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you so, so much. I think it's a beautiful independent.
I really appreciate it. I must say a big thank you to the two of you. Dio Nigeria, it's such a honor to have you on the very first Civicpolls online panel discussion. And amazingly, two of you have been my very good friends. I've known the two of you for well over a decade. And it's so amazing to have two of you on the same platform with me. And to you, Olusegun Ifade, thank you so much for coming. You've brought a lot of thoughts, into the subject of the role of citizens in governance. And I must say that the conversation took a turn that I wasn't even planning for. But then I believe that everyone who has connected have really learned a lot, and there is a lot to take home, especially when it comes to our interaction with our nation, Nigeria. So, yeah, I would want to say that everyone is free to engage on social media. I know that a lot of people have been dropping their comments. Now, what we say in Civicpolls is tell us what you think. That's our slogan. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you think about the role of citizens in Nigeria. Tell us what you think about your role as as a citizen of Nigeria. And of course, I want to say this here that you can follow the two of them. You can follow Dio. Dio's handle is always Dio Nigeria on Facebook, on Instagram, I believe on Twitter too. You can follow them. These are amazing guys who are blazing the trail in their various fields of endeavor. Also, you can follow Benga. I call him Benga, but his official name is Olusegun Ifade. You can follow Olusegun Ifade on Twitter at I am Shegun Ifade. You can also find them on LinkedIn. Just search Dio Nigeria, search Ifade Olusegun on LinkedIn, you'll find them, and then you can connect with them. So I want to say thank you so much to the two of you. It's been amazing having you here. It's been amazing. You have done fantastically well to it. Now, I am tempted to say that we should have a part 2 of this conversation, but I would leave it to the audience. Let us know what you think. Like we say on Civicpolls, tell us what you think. Tell us what you think about this panel discussion. Tell us what you think. If we should have it again, we should have a part 2 of it. Drop a comment right there on whichever platform you're watching. Let us know what you think. Let us know what your opinion is, and we will definitely air it. So I want to say once again, thank you to you guys. God bless you so much, and happy Independence Day to the two of you. It's been amazing having you on the platform. Of course, we would always have other times to bring you on. Definitely, I know that you guys are both wells of knowledge, and there is so much that Nigeria has to glean from you, your experience, your knowledge, and your background. So I want to say thank you so much. It's been amazing having you guys. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. All right. Yeah. So it's been an awesome time on the very first edition of the Civicpolls panel discussion, talking about the issue of the role of the citizens in governance and national development. A lot has been said, and I know that you have your own view. So, of course, do not forget to drop your comments on the chat, on the comments box, the chat box in the live stream. I would want to say this. I would want to say this, that Civicpolls, as you know, it's basically an opinion poll platform. And what we do at Civicpolls is we gather opinions of the public on general issues, that has to do with politics, that has to do with the society, entertainment, business, lifestyle, and a whole lot of things. And what we now do is we use this online panel discussion to educate the citizenry on how to address these issues. So you can, of course, follow us on our various social media platforms. Civicpolls on Instagram is at Civicpolls. On Facebook is also at Civicpolls. And of course, on Twitter, we are at Civicpolls NG, Civicpolls NG. You can follow us on this platform. We will be seeking your opinion on issues generally. Issues, we'll be running public opinions on issues. So we want you to connect with us. We want you to engage us, and together let's work towards transforming this beautiful nation called Nigeria. And of course, we are on YouTube. We will be doing this live panel discussion every month, and we'll be having one new topic, and of course, very, very insightful guests from various walks of life who will be coming as panelists. So you can follow us on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is Civicpolls TV. Follow us, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell so that you can be part, so that you can get notified when we are going live or when we upload any video. I want to say thank you so much to everyone who have been part of this very first panel discussion. It's been an amazing time. I want to say God bless you all so much, and happy Independence Day. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope to see you on the next edition of the Civicpoll. Bye for now. And please, let's be positive about Nigeria.